مستر دوگین. خیلی خوش اومد. خیلی خوش اومد. حالش ما خوبه؟ سلامتش؟ حالش ما خوبه؟ چکرم. بفرمایید.
سلام.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Mr. Abbasi, to invite me in your institution. I'm very impressed by Iranian audience. I am very happy always to speak with Iranians. All people generally think when they experience, when they feel some joy to see the other, they say, oh, you're exactly like us, like Russians. I have remarked that in Arabic world. My Arabic friends, they say, oh, you're Arab, when they wanted to say something good to me. But I would like to say that we should find the pleasure and happiness to speaking with other, not like us, different, but in positive way. So my experience of Iran, if that experience of different culture, but very, very brilliant, very great culture. So it is not to encounter, to meet the same, but the experience to meet other that could enrich me and maybe in some aspect greater than ourselves. A more ancient civilization and tradition. So I am very happy here to be in Iran as a country that is really discovery. Anytime I come here, it is new discovery of Iran. That corresponds to my theory of multipolar worlds. And Mr. Abbasi has spoken about the dreams, of different dreams. I think the dreams, more than the reality, define civilization and culture. Civilization, culture, and identity is not about who we are, but about who we dream we are. Our dreams define us more correctly, more realistically than our present form of existence. In Islamic tradition, you speak about intermediate world, alam al-mital, malakut, kalam malakut. It is not only illusion. That is something more real than reality. That is the reality of dreams, of our desires to be closer to the God, to the heaven. It is the way to Jabarut, the world of ideas and the powers. So it's very important to understand multipolar world and theory of multipolar world thanks to ideas of Sohrawardi. In every place we are in exile, in the Western exile. The West, it is not only geographical concept, it is spiritual concept. Alienated existence is existence in the Western exile. Everybody should return from this exile to motherland. But motherland is precisely the reality of our dream. We could speak about geography of the soul. But at the same time, we could project the same principles on geopolitics. The Western world, 5 centuries ago, has cut the ties with their dream. They have fallen in materialism and atheism and realism, so-called realism. On the third stage, they have proposed the false dream. Technological development, progress, material prosperity, and so on, capitalism, the growth of middle class, and so on. It was the dream of hell. It was wrong orientation. But as Sohrawardi said, inside of Malakut, there is the paradise and the hell as well. And now, their false dream has ended. If you consider American culture, a Hollywood productions film, there is not one positive description of the future. All production of Hollywood is about catastrophes, about diseases, viruses, the fight against artificial intelligence, cyborgs, Mad Max, total devastation, destruction, and the hell. The West has no more dream. Or maybe, put it differently, the real hellish nature of their false dream now is revealed. They don't anymore try to seduce humanity. They threaten humanity with the future, that the future will be worse. What kind of order they have brought to the Middle East, to the Libya, to the Iraq, to Afghanistan, to Syria? Total destruction, total devastation, chaos and blood and death. No dream. That is clearly sign of the end of their rule. When you have no dream, you have no identity, no culture, no civilization, no future, no time. They are still very strong, but they are wounded dragon. It could kill. As recently, our hero, General Qasem Soleimani, was killed. But that was not their victory. It was his victory. He became Shahid. If we believe in soul, in God, in salvation, that is, General Soleimani is the great example of the perfect life and perfect death. It is metaphysical victory of integral personality, fighting for the real cause, the positive, good cause, and sacrificing his life for the same. Example to follow. It's very important to live as believer, but it is much important to die as believer. We Christian, we believe in Christ who has won the death. And the powers who have killed Soleimani, they have lost. And there comes the time of our dreams, the time of the great return from the Western exile, the return to our own identity, to our Eastern origin, to our sources. And I think that the only real price that they should pay for the death of our hero, General Soleimani, is full liberation of Iraq. And that is already the fact. The parliament of Iraq has demanded to all American military bases to get out. They will still be there, and there is serious fight in front of us. But we should come to Iraq in order to save this country, to restore Iraqi dream. In sacred geography, Iraq is the territory of the paradise. And as well in the Shia history, that was the place and the capital of the Fourth Caliphate. So we need to restore, first of all, the dream identity of Iraq. And I totally agree about that we should, our dreams should work together. We have different identity. Christian is Muslim, Shia, Sunni. We should not confuse them. We should not mix them. We should recognize and respect the other in positive way, not in negative way. That is multipolarity, multiplicity of the dreams. But it is very important how we manage unity and plurality in this concept. It's most important question, because we could discover that other, for example, Christians are not like Muslims, and Muslims are not like Christians. We have theological differences, and the enemy, the wounded dragon, tries to play on that. They try to provoke the fitna between Shia and Sunni, between Christians and Muslims, between Hindu and Muslim. And they succeed sometimes. But in order to come to multipolarity, we should learn to respect the differences in positive way, accept the other as the other. In that sense, we could ask, but where is the unity that is so important for Islamic tradition, for Christian tradition, for monotheistic tradition? Where here is unity? It is most important point. If we like to get the unity too early, we just project our understanding of our dream, of our civilization on the other. We would say, oh, if you want to be united, please convert into Christianity or into Islam. But that is negation of the unity, of multipolarity. It is negation of acceptance of the other. It is the same thing that liberals, globalists do. They want to unite the world on the basis, on the condition everybody accepts their values. So they demonize everybody else. Putin's Russia, Iran, Muslims, everybody who doesn't accept their values are considered to be negative. That is the sin of unipolarity. And that is alienation of the identity. They have lost their dream because they wanted to do it absolute, universal. One American philosopher has said, America has gained the world and has lost herself. And that was agony of American population in order to elect Trump. That was desperate effort to save America. But it's too late. We could expect something from Trump before the killing of Soleimani. But now it is clear that he is like everybody else. He is not worse, he's just one of them. And that's the end of the hope for them. They are doomed. They have no more dream. But we shouldn't repeat their error, failure. We should work together, fight together against common enemy, respecting the difference. We should consider the identity of the other as the other way to the same point. We are the ways, and our dreams are the ways. But when we want to make too early one step further, we identify our way, ourselves as a way, with the goal. But that is satanic proud. That is beginning of alienation. That is precisely the mistake of the West. But we could not live without hope of unity. So multipolarity should not be just relativism. We should go to some center. And we, Shia and Christian and Muslims, we know what will be the center. It should not be purely human. It will appear in the moment of Zuhur. Only God's messenger could unite these different civilizations, different dreams. We should not replace this moment by our own will and desire. So we should be humble, promoting multipolarity, promoting Shia civilization, Russian civilization, Sufi civilization, Muslim civilization, but respecting the borders, respecting the dreams of others. And the most important thing to organize this multipolarity as the way of the return of each culture, each people, each tradition to the sacred center. And that return to ourselves, to our inner identity, will be projected in the future. It is the meaning of revolution. It is revolution. It is not only linear movement. It's a return and at the same time creation of something completely new. In some hadiths, they say about appearance of Mahdi and Jesus in Damascus in Syria. That is symbol of how our dreams can converge. You can say we are speaking about dreams, about some reality, but let us consider what we have now in Syria. Syrians, Iranians, Hezbollah, and Russians defend Damascus. We are fighting together in the Holy Land. That is example how the dream are transformed in the reality, in the geopolitics. And there is important role of China. That is more and more clearly on the side of multipolarity against unipolarity. So we see now how we are entering in a time when many aspects of Malakut will be projected on the mulk, on the material world. And that is precisely the moment, geopolitical, strategical, military, political, economical moment we live in. And it is why it's so important to establish the relations between the countries, between the peoples, between the civilizations on the deeper level, on the level of Ishraq, on the level of return. We should discover deep Iran. And you are invited to discover deep Russia, not on the surface, not superficial, because behind this facade of Russia, there is hidden something different from facade of modern Russia. It is not easy. You need to know Russian philosophy, Russian Orthodox theology, Russian history, our culture, our writers as Dostoevsky, our poetry.
Dostoevsky is fully translated in this country.
Right. Chehov.
Antoine Chekhov.
Right. Right. Great. That's very important. And now we are discovering great treasure of Iranian cultures with Ferdowsi, Rumi, Sohrawardi, Mullah Sadra. These texts are published in Russian. Everybody knows Ibn Sina, Al-Farabi, and Amar Khayyam. So the bridges between cultures, between the dreams, should be profound, but they can be as well have concrete strategical manifestation. Our military commanders should have direct contact. We should create a common geopolitical vision. I'm calling that geopolitics of apocalypse, because everything we see now in the Middle East are very apocalyptical. But it is not for dreamers or philosophers or mystics only. The war of ideas, of the concept, of the philosophies is projected in the concrete war. And the war becomes sacred when it has the real goal, spiritual, transcendental goal. So sometimes dreams could be very pragmatic. And the last thing that I would like to say today, that now Russia and Iran, we have the common mission. For the first time in the history, we have started a military alliance in Syria. For the first time. It is not something pragmatic or casual. It is the sign of time. And we need to prolong that. We need to, and now we have the concrete example, that is Iraq. The importance of Iran for Iraq is great. It is mostly Shia country, but there are Arabs and there are a huge amount of Sunni and Kurds. There is the big influence of Turkey that is more or less balanced or neutral, and that is negative influence of Saudi Arabia. And there will be the Israel and United States, they will play in all differences. So the situation is not easy. And modern Iraq lacks any ideology, any idea of the state, any dream. And that is our mission, to help to Iraqi people to revival, to reawaken. And for that, we need to put together Russian potential, military first of all, diplomatic, and resources and economy. Chinese financial power. And one of the reasons of the killing of General Soleimani was the meeting of Maliki with Chinese in order to propose to them rebuild Iraq without. American and Iran should be main ideological and religious power in that. But we will have success and victory with help of the God, obviously, if we will work together with Iraqis, obviously. But we should concentrate our efforts on this project for the future of Iraq. Everything begins with the thought, with word, with idea. And we Christians, for us, the world is most sacred things. So I think that before our country, our institution, start the real involvement in Iraq, I suggest to elaborate a kind of dream map. Americans say road map, maybe way instead of road, way, to add spiritual dimension in our plans. And I think that I could speak about geopolitics, force political theory, and sociology, anthropology, and many other topics, but I think it's enough for today. I'm very glad for invitation of Mr. Abbasi to this session, and I will be happy to continue relations with all of you, with Iran, with Iranian intellectuals, with Iranian patriots, with the core of Iranian people and Iranian culture. Thank you very much.